Okay, so now that we've talked about synovial joint structure, we're going to talk about the type of movements that are possible at synovial joints. And so again, keep that in mind. We're not talking about the fibrous joints, the cartilaginous joints. We're not talking about synostoses. We're not talking about synarthroses, amphiarthroses. The only thing we're talking about right now, synovial joints, which are the joints that have a free range of motion. So we're also talking about diarthroses, synovial, freely movable joints, diarthroses. Okay. So types of movements. Now this is how we're going to categorize it: gliding, angular, rotational, and then some special movements. And so let's first look at gliding. And what this is trying to show you here is a representation of gliding by using something simple like a piece of paper and a pencil. And so let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so here I have a pad, and so let's pretend like this is a bone, okay, and this is the other bone. So the way they're going to move past each other is they're going to just glide in these sorts of ways, okay, so it's just a gliding past each other. Now let's look at some of the examples of bones that can do this. So for example, we have here, okay, a foot, and up here are the tarsal bones, okay, and so it turns out these bones are just going to kind of wiggle on each other, okay, so it's a little bit of gliding back and forth between these bones. As you put pressure, you run, you walk, all of these sorts of different things, okay. And so that's all it is with bones like this, is going to be a little bit of gliding back and forth. Now, some examples of bones that do this, and if we go here to our notes packets, okay, here, so description of the motion, I'll let you put that in your own words. So describe what we just talked about. If you can put it into your own words, you probably understand it. If you can't, then contact your instructor, read your book, watch the video again, and see if you can put it into your own words. So the parts of the body that do this, specifically the clavicle and where it meets up with the scapula, okay, the carpals, the tarsals, the sacroiliac joint, and also the vertebral joints, the ones that are synovial. So here we're talking about the superior and inferior articular facets. Okay, so those are the specific ones that we're talking about. And again, let me show you some examples of these. Okay, so here we've got the scapula, and the clavicle is going to join up with it right like this, okay, and so that's how this joint looks. And so as this moves up, down, you get a little bit of gliding past these two joints right here, okay. If we're going to look at the sacroiliac joint, okay, here's the ilium, here's the sacrum, and they're going to meet up right here, okay. And so it turns out that there's a little bit of gliding and wiggling with these two surfaces, okay. Intervertebral, let me demonstrate that. Okay, so here are my two vertebrae, okay, and we're not talking about the bodies. The body is a symphysis because it's a pad of cartilage, but we're talking about this area right here, okay, where those two processes meet. And so as you bend, they slide, okay, so say you bend over and touch your toes, then the bones do this, and then as you stand up straight, they go back to normal. Okay, so there's this little bit of wiggle there. There can be a little bit of wiggle side to side if you turn like this, okay? And so those are the sorts of movements that are gliding movements that you can see. Okay, and so I believe that that goes through gliding. So on the next pages we'll go through some of the other motions.